By time of splashdown on the alien world, the transmog chamber had finished its gruesome business. Flat on his back, Ixdahan tried to assess the situation. In the plus column, the shaking, oozing, and vomiting were over. In the minus column, he was now a member of a totally alien species. Better test my legs, he told himself. Too bad it wasn't that simple. Unable to find his center of gravity in a gaseous atmosphere, he lunged forward too fast and flung himself face down to the lander's hard metallic floor. Had he broken his new calcium phosphate-based endoskeleton? Sensing no pain, he pulled his knees up under him and paused before pushing himself up to his feet. He let his eyes flutter shut as he tried to steady his breathing. So far, the alien body worked fine, overlooking, of course, its one major drawback. "Disgusting," he mumbled. His stomach lurched as he forced himself to touch his new forehead for the first time. The image of the human body posted on the galactic array was revolting enough, but this, it was hard to imagine anything worse. His new head was dry, bulbous, and topped with a soft outgrowth. The fingers he used to probe it were stubby, bony, clawed. Hands, head, fingers. Words from an alien language bubbled up into his consciousness from the array. Hands, he saw in a flash of implanted memory, were for grasping tools, climbing trees, and pressing a soft pair of lips into his... What? How could any sentient species survive with such poor mental discipline? He hadn't experienced so much cognitive drift since age 5. As he flopped down on his bed, Ixdahan struggled to accept the implications. The Earth creature's psychological development was stunted. They were pre-mentalic, like many of the species he'd dealt with on the homeworld. He shuddered, remembering the oily traders and craven merchants who had lined the game rooms and holodecks and fed his addiction to expensive forms of entertainment. Should have just killed me, he thought. Trouble was, they hadn't. He'd just have to get used to this existence. But how? As a teenager on Snaldriolor, he'd been in control of his mind. On Earth, crammed into a human body, he couldn't predict how its hormonal fluctuations and transitional neural pathways might muddy his thoughts. Yet he could also sense some other influence, reshaping him, for now his memory of the homeworld was fuzzy, the outlines distorted. Enough. According to the terms of his exile, his robotic caretakers were programmed to help him adapt. Better get started, said Ixdahan aloud, and was shocked by the bizarre sounds bouncing off the lander's curved walls. Of course, as any homeworld neurologist could have told him, his mind hadn't yet adjusted to perceiving sound waves through a gaseous atmosphere. "DXN GRG!" Ixdahan yelled in his slightly cracked voice. The door to his cabin slid open to reveal one of the 2 DXN series robots, a likeness of a sentient Earth creature about 42 cycles old and absolutely hideous. But that was nothing compared to the way it talked. "Hiya, son," the DXN unit said in a broad accent. "Finally made it up, sleepyhead? Your mom and I were getting kind of worried." Ixdahan's human eyes bulged. "Is this how you speak to your master?" he snapped. Without a word, the DXN unit shook its head and plopped down on the plump leatherette love seat to Ixdahan's left. "That's my boy," it said, in a precisely calibrated human chuckle. "But I'm going to have to ask you to keep your sense of humor on the back burner when your mom's around. She's been worried sick. Thought you might wake up dead." "That's enough," said Ixdahan through clenched teeth. "Homeworld protocol dictates." "Now, you see, son, I gotta say I'm disappointed in you," said the robot. "Thought you would have figured out a few things by now," he added. "Like maybe protocol has changed, what with your exile and all?" Before Ixdahan could answer, he felt a pair of biomechanical hands spin him around by the shoulders to face a full-length mirror on the opposite wall. "There," said DXNGRG. "Get a good look at yourself. See any changes in protocol you'd like to talk about?" Ixdahan's eyebrows arched. "It's not my fault. they made me look like a dork, he heard himself whine. Dork? What had the consortium done to his speech centers? Now, son, said the DXN unit, we'll have plenty of time to deal with what you call your acculturation issues when we get set up in our new home. For now, try to appreciate how thorough the folks in Transmog were. Thorough? Asked Ixdahan. Exactly, said the robot with a wink. Whatever you was before, forget about it. Right now, today, you're human. And I, the DXN unit added, leaning in, I'm your daddy. Turning back to the mirror, Ixdahan fought hard against his tears. He knew what the cool kids looked like, and this was definitely not it. Not fair, he said. But there it was again, a sure sign he was losing control of his mind. This mentalic interference is unacceptable, he roared with his scratchy, uneven voice. Interference, the DXN unit cut in. Don't get ahead of yourself, boy. The Transmog folks just wanted you to fit in with your new home. You ought to be grateful. I get it, said Ixdahan, drying his eyes with his palms. I look like a dweeb for my own good. Dweeb? It was like having two brains, only one of which worked properly.